All righty. I think we are live. I'm gonna wait for my other screen to show up here to see when we're going live to make sure before I say hi to everybody. All right, there we go. I see it live over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. Let's see. Let me move up to the top because we got a bunch of people on here. My gosh, we got a lot of people on here. Terry Landry from Cajun Country. How you doing from Lafayette, Louisiana, or Youngsville? Good to see you on here. Blake Hawk. Guys, once again, look at the bottom. Crappie Cove. That's Blake Hawk. Call that phone number. Use the code of Sleep at the Reel for 10% off your order. And if they don't have it, well, I guess they don't have it. But anyway, Amped Outdoors batteries, man, you want one, they've got them. If they don't have them in stock, they'll have them soon. And why not save 10%? Know what I mean? Anyway, thanks for being on here, Blake. Oh, I didn't put you up there. Sorry. There we go. Chad Hilliard, how you doing, my friend? Good to have you on here. Heidi Clark, one of my moderators. Thanks for being here from Idaho. Major Brown. I saw you won something the other day from somewhere. I can't remember where I saw it, but you won something. Congratulations. Stephen Hawkins, how are you doing? Miss JT's All Outdoors, on other moderators. Thank you. And I saw in a minute you're going to tell me to wake up, but I was doing stuff. Just hang in there. JT's All Outdoors, the husband. How you doing, brother? Let's see. Mark Williams, my moderator. Thank you for being on here, my friend. Definitely go check his website out. And dadgummit, Mark, post it up there because I can't remember what the dang website's called. Makes jigs. Makes some great jigs, jig bodies. So, Georgia Bill, how you doing? Good to have you on here. Irene, the Crappie Queen, how you doing? Good to have you on. Always good to see you. Robert Johnson, how you doing, bud? Good to have you in here as well. Making Waves TV, thanks for being on here. I'm kind of scrolling through here, just looking for people because I got a guest waiting in the back room here. Let's see. Misty Martin, how you doing? Good to have you on here. William C., good to have you on here, my friend. Slab Buster. Hey, guys, did y'all catch the video this week? Hey, you know what? Real quick, I'm going to throw this out there. There was something different about that video. The first person I see that can tell me, besides Blake, what is different in the video, I'm going to send them a bag of jig heads from Bonehead. I've got a whole package sitting right here, and I'll buy some more after a while, but for the other giveaway. But first one that can tell me what's different on the video that I just saw a comment, sorry, that is different on this video that just happened with Slab Buster in Alabama. I will send it to him. And keep in mind, I don't know how it shows up over there, but I know how it shows up on my screen. So the first person I see something that says the right thing, I'm not going to even comment on it because we have some things going. But when I see it, I'll stop and talk. So, all right, let's see I just lost my place. Dadgummit. Hold on. Mike Hallmark. I see Mike Hallmark. There we go. There's where I was. Kid Crappie, how you doing, brother, man? Good to have you on. I was just on your show. Y'all go check his show out as well. He comes on an hour before I do every Monday night. Great channel. He uses a kayak, and he does a whole different fishing than I do, and I love watching him on there. So great stuff. Definitely check him out. Sid Lewis, what's up, my man? Good to have you on here. Mike Hallmark, there you are. Hit the like button for the old guy. Man, when you get skunk patches on whatever it was, the sides, yeah, you're getting old, man. That's why I keep my hair short. I need to get a haircut because all my gray's showing. Got to get rid of that stuff. You know what I mean? Let's see. I'm just scrolling through real quick, looking for new people that I haven't talked about yet. Oh, yeah, Slab Buster. I started talking about him a while ago. So make sure y'all watch that video. If you have not, we had a good time. You can actually put a face to the name with Slab Buster. And, man, we had a good time. We didn't catch a lot of fish, but we had a good time. And we really did. We froze our butts off, but it was good. And you can see how what not to do with an ACC crowd. Oh, actually with any rod, but I use ACC crappie sticks, and don't hold a 12-foot pole about 5 foot from the end and set a hook on a big fish. It does not work, I promise you. PFG Fishing, man, how you doing, brother? Y'all check his channel out as well. Good to see you on here. John Maddox, good to see you. Jerry Lee, good to have you on here, my friend. Jerry Ward. Solomon, this is a new one. Yeah, I haven't noticed you on here before. You may have been here, and I apologize if I haven't. Andy Perry, man, says 6 weeks past surgery. Started walking today. Awesome, brother. I'm so happy. That's awesome. Now you need to walk to the boat and get on it and get your lines wet, brother. Kip Wright from Lake Fork area. Thanks for being on here, my friend. Fish with Camo Joe. Good to have you on here, buddy. Uncle Bill's Crappie Attitude. Bill Long, Waco, Texas. Good to have you on here, my friend. Bayou Crappie Adventures. Hey, man. I've not seen you on here, but thank you so much. Hold on. Where'd my sheet go? There it is. I'm going to write you down. I'm going to check your channel out as soon as we get out of here. So what part, hold on. Give me a second. There it is. Bayou Crappie Adventures. So I grew up in Lafayette, Louisiana. Fished the Chaffalaya Basin. That's where I learned to water ski between the bridges of I-10. And anyway, I don't know if you're from that area. I'm going down there at some point this year to catch some big bluegill, some of them bull brim is what they call it. Anyway, good to have you on here. Stephen Askew, good to have you on here, my friend. Thank you so much. Let's see, just scrolling through real quick. Andy, it was too cold and I have shoes on, man. I had shoes on and I had several pair of socks. It was freaking cold. Oh, Terry. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait. I see it. Terry Landry got it first. The logo. That's the first one I see. Make sure. Yes, I changed my logo. I haven't changed it on here yet. I forgot about that. But Terry Landry, I'll get with you later. I got your phone number. I'll get your address. I'll send you some stuff. So, yeah, we got a new logo for Sleep at the Reel. And anyway, just something a little easier to deal with. It's a little easier to print. And Jerry Lee's, I like this. You broke a rod. I did break a rod, brother. That's not what was new, though. And Mark Williams said it, too. PFG Fishing said it. It was funny. Yeah. Mike Hallmark says, I look like a banana with reflective tape. No, that was not new. I usually do that. So, anyway, all right. I got Michelin Man coming up. But, yes, anyway. So, Terry Landry, get with me later, and I'll call you. And we'll go from there. Hey, here's a new one. I don't want to pronounce that wrong. Sliz 33, how you doing? Good to have you on. Major Brown truck name Rod Breaker. Yeah, that could be the case. Anyway, we got that video going on as well, guys. So name my truck. Fishing Lake Country. Hey, how you doing, man? From Virginia. Good to have you on here. I'm writing your name down too, so I can go check you out afterward. There's a lot of good channels out there, guys, that I just don't see. I wind up running out of time. So I'm editing video and just don't get the time to look. So anyway, Terry says the logo looks good. Thank you, sir. Bayou Crappie Adventures just getting going. Just getting going. The channel, Brandon Jennings. Oh, man. Oh, Brandon Jennings, North Central Louisiana. I thought you said from Jennings, Louisiana. I knew where Jennings was. Well, cool, man. Glad to have you on here, brother. Larry McBride. Bull Shoals Lake. All right, guys. So here we go. We're 10 minutes into the video, and there's a hot topic going on right now. Started out with a little post, and anyway, you know what? Let me just introduce my guest here. I got Mr. Jerry Hancock if y'all know the name, he won the Mr. Crappie Invitational this year. Came home with a lot of money. He will not give me any. I don't know why. I've been asking him to, but I've been asking for another Livescope unit, and he just won't buy it for me. But anyway, he's a guide here in Texas at Lake Fork and a few other lakes, I believe. I'll let him tell you that. And but from this part of East Texas, so let's bring in Mr. Jerry Hancock. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, how are you doing, Chris?
Man, I'm doing good. Tell me real quick. Let me get rid of Larry on there. So real quick, where do you guide? Because I don't know. I know you do Lake Fork, but what other lakes do you do?
Lake Fork and Levon. Most of my business is at Fork now. I'd say I run probably 20 trips a year on Levon now in the summertime mostly. That's where I got my start, and then I kind of moved my business to Fork. So I would say mainly Lake Fork, but I run a few trips on Levon. I live in McKinney, which is about 70 miles from Fork. I got a place at Fork too, and then Levon's about 10 miles from me, so it's kind of my home lake, or it was. Forks. I would say I spend more time at Fork than I do anywhere now.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, before we get into the guts of this, tell us about Mr. Crappie Invitational. How was that?
Man, it was a grind. If you were there, you knew what the weather was like. It was cold and raining all week. We were making 40, 45-mile runs every day to where we were fishing one way. And we ran it in the fog a couple times and, pouring down rain, 30, 40-degree weather. It was a miserable week of weather-wise. Most grueling tournament I've ever been part of. And then it added a 3-day tournament to it, which, most of us 2-day tournaments are what we're used to. So that part of it, I can't say was all fun. In the end, it was worth it. But we were lucky enough to get on some good fish and come out on top, which it was a very humbling experience. We've been doing it a long time. Me and my partner Paulo Beer, he's been fishing tournaments for about 30 years, and I've been doing it about 20 years. And we don't get to travel around like we used to due to our jobs. And we fish some local cat tournaments around here. Let
me interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
For those of you who are not around here, CAT stands for Crappie Anglers of Texas.
Yeah.
So just when you say cat, I don't want you to think catfish.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we won the state championship in that this year, like I think a week or two before we went to Branson. So we had a pretty good run there in October, crappie fishing tournaments. But yeah, it was unbelievable. It was a great time. Wally puts on a great show. Being on that stage that final day for that weigh-in is so exciting. You got butterflies. You don't know if you've got it won or not. And all those people in Chris Jones that does emceeing, he does such a wonderful job of making it exciting. It was quite the experience. One we'll never forget. I hope we get a chance to win another one. The money's great, but that title means that money spends, but that trophy will be around forever. So it's we had a ball. In the end, we look back. We complained a lot the first 4 days of practice. Man, we were miserable. Everybody did. It was just, but at the end of it, we found some fish and stuck it out and made good decisions and fished real clean. We never lost any big fish. We made, like I said, tournament fishing, making the right decisions at the right times, probably, as much of it as anything. And we did that. It paid off. And man, when you beat some of the caliber of teams that were in that, guys that I've looked up to all my career, Ronnie Capps and the Hughes brothers, and man, there's just the list goes on and on. Huckabee and Matthew Rogers, and I mean anybody that's anybody in crappie fishing was fishing that tournament, and to compete against those people, and it was very, very humbling to come out on top.
Awesome. Hey, do me a favor, in about 2-3 minutes tops, give me an idea. And I didn't tell you this beforehand, so I'm throwing this out at you. Something I just thought about. But what did you do? You're going to this lake. kind of how'd you come up with your strategy?
Well, if you fish that tournament, you can't call anybody. You can't go fish it before, put out brush, all that. So, I mean, we knew nothing about table rock other than what we could find, on the internet. And from what we knew when we, heard it was a very clear lake, which we don't really care for. And so we, with a little research, there's a couple uh, river arms that kept coming up. One was the James River, and that's where we fished, and another one was the Kings. And you would hear about some places up in those rivers. Well, when you looked on a map, knowing we had to leave from the state park, like where we ended up fishing, it was 45 miles one way.
Good
So
gosh.
we had to consider that run, so then you got to conserve fuel. Can we get up there and back, without running out of fuel? And there's, like I said, driving it and pouring down rain. We went and bought goggles and all that stuff. And it was, like I said, it was a miserable part of it. But so we started in the mouth of the river the first day, caught 2 fish. We realized we needed to get further in that river. We didn't want to make that run. So we tried further south. We just kept working our way up there. We, knowing a little bit, we like to timber fish. That lake had some timber in that river along the bluffs, and we fished some bluff lakes in the past, like Fort Gibson and some of these lakes like that. Those fish like to go to them bluff walls in the fall, and we found that to be true. And then we figured out that the end of those bluffs where it fell off to a flat held better quality fish. So we found in practice, it took us till Tuesday, we kind of really figured that pattern out. Wednesday, we went back. We had some delays because of lightning and rain. We didn't get to practice all day like we wanted to. We went and found a couple more spots. So we knew we had 4 spots that we could catch some decent fish in, we thought. And that's what we did, And first day, we're fishing standing timber, submerged. Some of it was sticking above the water. We did figure this out. This is what really helped us the most. You'd see a lot of fish 15, 20 foot deep on these trees. And a lot of them were crappies. There were bass, bluegill, there were all kinds of fish. But down around 28 and 30 foot, that's where if there was a bigger fish most of the time, that's where you would catch him. We didn't want to fish that deep because we got to keep our fish alive. So, but if we don't catch these fish, we're not going to win anyway. We knew a lot of guys were fishing docks, catching black crappie, and we tried that. We just could never put anything together on that pattern. So we went to our strength and got in there and started fishing that timber. Luckily, on Fork, where I guide in the wintertime, I fish a lot of, 25 to 40 foot deep for fish on trees. With Livescope, it's different fishing that deep. It's tough. It really is tough. And I make my living doing it. So I was able to get in there and we knew what we were doing, and we got on that pattern. And first day we were sitting in 20th place. We talked about that. I don't know what we did wrong. If anything, we just couldn't get some of these fish to bite, but we saw them, we seen over there. And I sat in line. I said, you had to make top 50 to fish the second day. I said, man, if we make it, we make it in, we're going to catch a big stringer if these fish bite. And we did. The second day, we caught the biggest stringer of the tournament and went from 20th to second. Wow. And going into the third day, we knew we had to catch another good stringer. And most tournaments, your second, third days, the weights will start falling off. Guys hammer their fish and all that. We had enough fish to fish 4 or 5 days if we needed to. We just had a hard time getting them to bite. So the third day, we went in second place. The pressure was on Jeff. He's leading. Pressure was on him, how we felt. We weren't nervous. We had a camera boat with us all day and had a marshal in the boat, and that helped ease some of the tension. We were talking to the camera boat almost like it was a guide trip. Here's what we're doing, and talking to them and back and forth as they were watching us. And we put together the biggest stringer that anybody caught on day 3. And wow. What we expected would happen, a lot of those guys' weights went down finally, on the third day. So, we wound up winning it by about a pound, and we're still mad at ourselves for what we did on the first day. If we had 750 or something, the first 780, I think, 783. if we'd have caught 9 pounds the first day, that tournament wouldn't have been close. We could have, we wouldn't have been sweating bullets. We're still, that's how me and Paul are. Even though we won it, we're proud of that. We're still beating ourselves up over what did we do wrong on day one, because and we know we stayed in one area too long. I would change that. That was probably, and I won't say it's a bad decision now looking back. We think we should have moved sooner, but at the time we felt like it was the right decision. And I second guess something. I don't know if it would have mattered, but that's what we did using jigs. I used multiple hair jigs, and Paul used the black chartreuse hair jig, 1/8 ounce jigs, and man, we just these fish didn't want to bite. We had to be, just really, really hunt and peck and try to force feed them. And luckily enough, we got the bites we needed.
Cool, man. Hey, look, I'm gonna do a couple questions here that I see. Well, first of all, let me just throw this out there. Making Waves TV says this is off subject, but on topic of tournaments, Lake Palisade will be hosting a Red Crest MLF bass tournament. It's the Pro-Am payout, $300,000 a winner. Let me just tell you, I met Scott Suggs the other day when I was coming back from Tennessee, and awesome guy. He was on one side of the gas pump. I was on the other side with my boat. We were sitting there talking, and he didn't shun me when I told him I'm a crappie fisherman. So he was nice. But hey, here's a good question for you, real quick. Major Brown asked, how heavy a weight are you fishing when you're fishing that deep?
I use a 3/16 ounce most of the time. And then I use an 1/8 ounce jig most of the time. Sometimes I'll use 16th, 32nd. I've fished a 1/64 that deep, but I use a 160 ounce, a 3/16 bullet weight that I tie above it. I use braided line, 20-pound K9 line, and I run that bullet weight. I run it through that weight 2 times so it'll slide up and down. That's how I peg it. I don't use bobber stops and stuff like a lot of guys. It's real simple. I don't use a leader. I tie directly to the jig. Even in that clear water up there, it didn't seem to affect those fish at all. So 3/16, 1/4 ounce, something in that range. I know a lot of guys like to use a half. I'm going to always use as light a weight, jig and weight above it if I'm using a weight above it, as I can get away with. I feel like I can detect more bites that way. And I've become a real big fan of downsizing my size of my jigs. I use a lot of smaller hair jigs now than I used to. I used to be opposite. I was a big bait guy, and these fish will eat them. But when they're finicky, I'm going to go downsize, and try to get away with as light a weight. That 3/16 gets down there pretty good that deep. Not as fast as some. You got to be a little more patient. But those light bites, I think I can detect them a little better.
Cool. Good answer. Well, hey, man, let's get into, I know you got things to do tonight. It's 8:30, and let's get into the big deal of what's going on. So it was Jerry kind of, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you kind of introduced this. You and a few other guides here in Texas. So our limit right now is, first of all, let me back up real quick. Hey guys, I see we got a lot of people on here. If y'all would hit that like button, because YouTube looks at these likes, they promote us based on likes. So if you would hit that like button and let YouTube know that you like this thing. Okay. So anyway, back to what we're on here for. In the state of Texas, the limit is 25 fish. So if I go out fishing today, I can keep 25. Tomorrow, I can keep 25. The next day, I can keep 25.
Yep.
You're a guide here, and normally you take an average of 2 people per trip.
Most trips are 2 people.
Yep. Yeah. So that's 50 fish. That adds up, and you kind of introduced a challenge, I guess. Maybe, is that the right word?
Well, that's not how we intended it, and some people may have been taking it that way, and it kind of took off that way. And let's say we're encouraging. maybe a little
Encouraging.
softer word,
That's a good word.
we definitely don't want to dictate what people should or shouldn't do.
Right.
It's just kind of encouraging more to release a few more fish. That's
Okay.
that's the gist of it.
Perfect. I like that word. So you're encouraging guides. That's kind of how you took it. I'm taking it a step
Yeah.
farther because I do have a lot of people from Texas. And I do have a lot of people from Alabama, from Tennessee that have a limit of 30. Some like Tennessee has a limit of 15. So it's going to be hard for you guys to do. But what Jerry is recommending here in Texas, or encouraging, excuse me, in Texas, is if the limit is 25 to stick with 20 on a guide trip. And, give me the numbers on that. I think you said based on what you do 300 days a year, that saves about 1,500 fish.
Around 250 trips last year. And
okay.
I averaged, let's say, I averaged about 45 fish per trip that I cleaned. If on average, 40 to 45, somewhere in there. So if you just do the math, that's 10,000 fish, 11,000, somewhere in that range. And, I propose, let me back up a minute. Me and Seth Vanover, that guy's on Lake Fort, Lake Pines, we've been talking, and Mark Standrich and Dan Langston, a lot of us guys have been talking amongst ourselves for a while now about, man, some of these lakes are getting hammered. And Fork and Pines are our two trophy lakes, kind of like Grenada is in Mississippi. And this is where everybody wants to go. We know, we understand why. And there's just, with the new technology, Livescope, there's just a lot. Crappie fishing's exploded in the last 2 years. I mean, just more and more people every single day. Now we're having a guide pop up every week, a new guide, and several of them's been on Lake Fort. And so there's a lot more pressure. And I probably should have let some of the people know where it's been getting to me is we're catching fish now that never got caught before because we're targeting them in places like this winter. We're fishing deep creek channels, catching them on submerged timber, very deep, very tight to trees. In the past, we weren't fishing for those fish, and most of them are big, mature females. We're taking a lot of those fish out of the lake. Lake of the Pines is just getting hammered daily. What is that impact going to be on the lake? I'm not a biologist. I'm not pretending to be, but I'm just trying to use common sense that what if that impact alone, the certain fish we're catching in the certain areas of the lake, I think those are a lot of our big female brooders, I'm calling them. What if that's very detrimental to the lake? We don't know it yet. And the state doesn't know it yet. It's never been done before. We're talking about, Fort being 40 years old. There's places we're catching fish for 38 years were never being caught, and in numbers that were never even dreamed of being caught. So as a guide, I'm as guilty as anybody. I'm throwing 50 big fish up on that table all the time. We release some big fish, but we clean a lot of, a 2-pound fish on Fork is really no big special deal. So we clean a lot of fish, and I'm sitting there every time I'm putting a knife to all these fish, and I hear my customers, man, that's a lot of fish. That's a lot of fish. I start thinking, I'm scared for the future if we continue this, and I can't complain if I'm one of the most guilty involved. So I decided, me and Seth, well, what can we do? A few things we can do, and I said, the state probably will be, they're going to be reactive to this, not proactive. And by the time they step in, I'm afraid it could be too late if what we feel is true. So what could we do to try to make a difference? And a small difference, but if enough of us do it, maybe it will help sustain it as best we can until the state does step in and do something, which is I proposed if I have, backing it off to 20 fish per client instead of 25 that we clean. We're not shortening our trips. We're not saying we can't throw some fish back. We can be more selective that way in what we keep. I always encourage releasing these great big jumbo fish when we can. So that's what, and talk to several guys and they're like, man, I'm cool with that. I don't think that's 5 less fish per person that we're killing is going to make our customers that upset. And I've talked to lots of my customers, a ton of them. They're good. I mean, they see it. They've been with me. They see all the boats. They see it's all. They hear it, and they're all on board with it. So, we decided there's about 6 or 8, 10 guides that we talked to that we've all been fishing and guiding for several years. Most of us are long before Livescope, and we decided we would implement this on our boats starting March 1st. So we decided about noon on Sunday, we're going to make a post and let the cat out of the bag what we're going to do. I had no idea it was going to cause the firestorm that it has. I really had. I mean, you've seen it, Chris. I mean, if you've been on Facebook, and I don't care where you live, you've probably seen a post somewhere about this, and you can blame me for it. I'm one of the ringleaders. I never dreamed I would be called every name in the book for keeping 5 less fish. And that's me. And like we said earlier, I would encourage everybody to release a few more fish. But I'm not saying a guy can't go out that only fishes once a month or twice a month and keep 25 fish. I'm never going to say that. But as a guide, I can do a little, and I think it's up to us to start the conversation, and that's what we've done. And overall, I'm gonna say it's been a positive response, for the most part. And I know not everybody's going to agree with it, and we're not trying to force anything on anybody. There's been I mean, it's just I got tired of defending myself today to the point where I just put my phone down. I started a YouTube channel here a while back. I shot some video this week with Mark Standards or last week, and I've been trying to edit the video and get it up, and I was interrupted every 30 seconds.
Hold on. I didn't know you started a YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel?
It's Crappie Legends.
All right. I'm writing it down. If I'm a pen. Go ahead.
I've got 3 videos up now, and I'm working on another one. Me and Mark went out this week. I actually got a $2.99 on film this week. So almost 3. But so I've been playing with that a little bit. And I was trying to work on that today, and I just had to turn my phone off. It was really kind of upsetting to me that we were attacked. I've been hearing it, guides are ruining the lakes. And I know a lot of people feel that way. But now we've got guides that are recognizing that we need to make some changes. And now we're being crucified for that. So I guess we couldn't win anyway with some people. But, it's, it is what it is. I'm doing it. I'm standing firm. I have a belief that we need to start addressing this issue, and I can use my platform to do it. One of the things when we won the expo, I can't remember. I was telling somebody today, I was talking to somebody, and one thing I wanted to do was be a good ambassador for crappie fishing, for the sport. And I think this is a small way that I can try to help sustain what we have, and do that.
Sure. Well, you know what, Jerry, the thing is, you look at it, you said 250 trips a year, roughly. That's, you throw back to 5, that's 1,250 fish a year. Some of these guys are taking 2 trips a day. That's, you're looking at 2,500 fish. Let's just say there's 10 guides out there. You're looking at 25,000 fish that are being released in a year or not being caught. And, that's just from a guide standpoint. I see people out there.
There's less of us. There's less of us nationwide.
I agree.
There's less. And because I can take you to Lake of the Pines on Saturday, and probably if the wind's not blowing, show you 150 boats with Livescope.
Yeah.
Catching 50 fish. Do the math. In one day, how many fish are those guys taking out? And right now, you're forced to keep every fish you catch on these lakes. So if those guys, let's say there's 100 boats. That's 5,000 crappie right there.
Yeah.
You know, let's say they released 5 of them. You know, there's 500 fish they saved in one day, one single day. And these aren't just 10-inch fish. I'm talking these are fish upwards and over 2-pound fish. I mean, these are a lot of big fish. So is it going to change it overnight? No, it's not. But here's my stance on it. I've said it over and over and over. What's the worst thing that comes from this? We're wrong about the fisheries. They're not going to, you can't hurt them. If that's the case, there's more fish left in the lake. And by doing what we're doing, the worst thing is there's more fish left in the lake. I'm going to leave upwards of 1,250 fish or, in the lake each year, not counting when I'm just going out there by myself, and I don't keep many fish. Literally, I probably got 15 crappie in my freezer right now. I mean, enough for one decent meal. I don't keep fish for myself very often. If we're going to have a fish fry, I might run out there and catch a limit, 30 fish, clean them. The rest of the time, they don't sit in my freezer. I want them fresh anyway. So I have that luxury. I know everybody don't. But, I'm gonna consciously and make that effort. And, it's encouraged, but it's not mandated by nobody. And we would like to see the state start doing some research. I don't know if they will or not, to be honest with you.
Well, let me show you this real quick from I'm kind of watching it. We're gonna go back here in a minute. There's a few questions through here, but this one I like. I want to show you this, Jerry. You have more people behind you than against you. So
hey, Steve. Yeah, I agree. I think we do. I really do. And I think a lot of us guides have had this standpoint. I don't like to see anybody that's against us. Naturally, nobody likes to see people that disagree with them or say things that aren't true. But there are more people that agree with us,
right?
And that's positive. Like I said, my customers agree with me. And the people that mean a lot to me agree with me. A lot of my peers. I mean, I've had calls from guys from Grenada, Mississippi today. Message me. It's behind me. Guys from Oklahoma, all over the country. People message me and texting me, and that's good. That's not why I'm doing it. It's not for a pat on the back. That's exactly not why we're doing it. But I can't understand the anger at me for deciding to keep a few less fish a year. That's what blows me away.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And let's just forget the anger, because the point is those guys aren't understanding what's going on.
No, and we're not going to change your mind, probably. Regardless.
The fact of the matter is what I want to talk about on here, which you've talked. Let me get rid of Steve's comment because he's covering my mouth. I love you, Steve, but you're a butthole. No,
he's a good guy.
We have a mutual deal. We always compete in competitions. Anyway, I love him to death. But the simple fact of the matter is, most of the people, I'd say there may be a guide on here besides you. There may be, I'm not sure, but a majority of the people are not. And, I fish a lot, especially during the summertime. I'm not a fan of the cold, as you can watch from my last video, but I do fish. I'll get out there 3-4 times a week, and I'll probably keep about 50 fish a year, and I do freeze them because the fact that I don't know when. My wife doesn't eat them, my kids don't eat them, so It's just me. And I'll portion them when I run out. I'll go catch more and keep a couple, but I'll probably catch, I don't even know how many I catch. I catch a lot of fish, and you'll see me throw them back. It's a conservation deal. I've got a son that's 12 years old. I want him to be able to enjoy these things. And, Jerry, this good and well. I mean, you said Lake of the Pines, Lake Fork, and I consider Lake Palestine. We got some great fish in Lake Palestine.
And I left Palestine out, and I shouldn't have, because it's.
Well, no, that's okay. I'm just saying these 3 lakes. And there's more around here.
Yeah.
These are the main ones I fish. These have great fish in them. It's nothing to catch a 16-inch crappie all day out here. But I even told Mark Standridge a few months ago, I said, man, I'm just not seeing the fish I used to see out here. Now, is that atmospheric conditions? Is it water conditions? Is it, what have you? I don't know, but I'm not seeing the fish that we have, that we used to have out here. And so what I'm asking, is for everybody here to have a conservation mind. And if you don't eat the fish, don't keep them. Point blank.
Yep. I'm not saying we're not trying to turn crappie into bass fishing. You remember what happened to bass back in the day? Everybody cleaned everyone they caught. And then all of a sudden it turned into money fish. And crappie is getting more that way. I view crappie different than a lot of people do. I make my living with them. So I do want to protect them, and I do want to see them big. That's why people come to Lake Fork to catch big crappie with me. That's kind of what I'm known for doing. So I want to protect that. And I'm as guilty as anybody. I mean, I run a lot of trips, and one reason I'd like to get the YouTube going, I'd like to get that going someday down the road where I can run less trips and still have some kind of income, some in fishing,
It doesn't give
I
you
know you're
much,
not going to get
let me
rich.
tell you.
Well, I know, but I'm saying some other things to do. Besides running 250 trips a year, I'm 50 years old now. I don't know how long I physically can want to do it or can do it, but I see what's coming. Sure. We're still we're going up on this hill with the technology coming out and the more people getting involved. It's not slowing down. It's going to get worse, and there's going to be more guys. There's going to be more guys catching more fish. There's more in the last 2 years. You talked about this earlier. Our limit was set about 40 years ago at 25 per person per day. And it worked for 38 years wonderfully on most lakes. Probably not enough fish caught on a lot of lakes. And that could still be true today. But think of the last 2 years. We're catching fish that were never caught before in numbers and in size that's never happened. I think technology is far advanced to the science. It's outrunning the science of it. And I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, if I'm wrong, then we're all good. But what if I'm right? And not just me. I'm talking, there's a lot of people agree with me. Man, I don't want to be what's going to happen when we can't catch but 20 fish in a day? I could see that happen. There's small lakes in Oklahoma that just a few guides have decimated pretty much, from what I understand, in 1 year. So, I know some lakes, there's no reason to even talk about this on. I'm not saying Lavon, for instance, one of the lakes I got on, there's a guy that out there asked me today, are you going to run this rule on Lavon? I am, because I'm not worried about Lavon today, but it does get a ton of pressure and it's got a ton of fish. But I'm worried about Lavon in 5 years or 10 years. And I'm going to hold firm to my rule. I don't want to be hypocritical and go, well, I'm going to do this here, but I'm not going to do it there. I understand my customers are just going to have to deal with that. And I haven't talked to one that's not willing.
Yep. No, I agree, man. I agree. I applaud you for doing this. I mean, this is, for me, it's a YouTube video. For you, it's a living. And, and for the other guys that are doing this. And, I saw a post today. I'm not going to mention the name, but, people are taking this to a whole different level of thinking that they're being called out. And that's not what this is about. I put a post out on that forum saying I like a list of the people who are doing this, and I think they got taken totally wrong.
They did,
and it's anyway. It's
okay.
my fault.
No, you're not. You didn't do nothing wrong. I applaud you for doing that. I would like to see this spread throughout the country. And I know these conversations are being had, and I know there's people thinking about it. Why hasn't someone, people have been talking about this. This isn't something that's just new. It's, I think we're some of the first guys that I know, I may be wrong, that are publicly throwing it out there saying, this is what we are going to start doing, regardless of what the state says. This is what we're going to start doing. I hope us doing the lead on that, if nothing else, it'll give guys, call it what you want, the nerve to do it themselves, and the guys that choose not to, for many reasons, I've been guiding for 22 years. I have a huge client base, and I run a lot of trips, and I turn down a lot of trips. I mean, I'm booked right now up into May. I don't have I'm 3 months out on trips. If I lose 20 trips over this, it's not going to affect my bottom line at all. But if you're a guy that's just getting started and you lose 20 trips, you only got 2 on the books. I'm not trying to cost guys their livelihood.
Right.
But so it's easier for me to do it. I understand that. Some guys may feel like they can't do it yet. And if they choose to do that, I'm not going to get on there and go, look at him and look at us. I'm not going to do that. If other people does it, I'm not going to encourage it. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't want this to be a negative thing. But, you know how the internet is, it's things get taken in text in general gets taken out of proportion a lot of times, and feelings are hurt, and someone big got left out, and this, that, and other. And, that's not what the intentions were from the get-go. Should we have reached out to every single guide in Texas and told them we were doing this? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
You know what? I don't think so. I really don't think
just
so.
Started at Lake Fork and Pines. The guys guiding there, mostly full-time guys there. That's kind of where this idea started. And there's some guys on board now that do run some trips on Fork that's got onto this. My good friend Dan Langston, he guides a lot in Oklahoma. The limit's 37 up there on some of those lakes. Some lakes are 15. It depends on where you go. And he's like, man, what do I do? I said, Dan, you got to do what you feel comfortable with. He said, well, I'm definitely on board. If I come to Fork, I'm going to stick by it, and I may stick by it regardless. And that's up to Dan's. I'm not, he's a good friend, and I'm going to support him either way. So I don't want people to think that this is a peer pressure. That's what we're trying to do, and that's what we've been accused of doing. Maybe some people have made it seem that way, but that's not what the intention was.
Right. Let me show you a quick couple comments here. So Texas Crappie Assassins, you need to check his channel out as well. Jerry, you're a stand-up guy, good guy. That's awesome.
Appreciate you.
I agree. Here's another one. Blake says, maybe look at a slot limit. Keep fish between 13 inches, nothing else. Let the small ones grow. What's your thoughts on that? And let me ask you a question real quick. I'm going to ask you that question, but I'm going to step. Okay. I can still hear you. I got to step around the corner for 1 second, okay?
Okay.
But I can still hear you. So just tell me what you think. I'll be right back.
I would like to see, personally, if it were up to me, I'd like to see Lake Fork go to what they've done in Grenada, which is 15 fish, 12-inch minimum. That probably won't happen. A slot limit, man, the enforcement on that, I don't know. I've had this conversation with a lot of people about, you hear, let the big ones go, keep the little ones. Then you hear biologists, some I've heard from their own mouth saying, a 3-pound fish is at the end of its life cycle. It's already spawned 4 or 5 times. It's passed its genes on. It's probably going to die of old age. Keep that fish. Put it on the wall if you want. Man, I have mixed emotions on it. I don't like killing those big fish. I'd like to leave them in the lake. In the springtime, I encourage as many of my customers to return as many of these big fish as we can. This is going to help me with my customers, because we only need to keep 40 fish. We can release more fish and be a little more selective of the fish we do harvest, and I don't have the answer for that. I really don't. I am not a biologist. I don't pretend to be. I don't play that on the side. I just see the pressure, and that's a very good question. I'm hoping that we can get some of those answers. I mean, there's some stuff on Crappie Connection with some couple different biologists, one in Mississippi, one in Oklahoma, and you know, the one in Oklahoma, what I heard him say, he wasn't concerned at all with Livescope and stuff. I don't know if he'll change his tune or not in a year or two. You know, I don't know. This was a year ago. This when it was still new. They were aware of it. They were, keeping tabs on it, but they hadn't seen the effects of it. But
Right.
in a year since, I know some guys in Oklahoma that'll tell you different that it has hurt some lakes. So, I don't know.
Yeah, a year ago I wasn't concerned with it either, but now
No.
every time I see a fisherman, you got the pole up in the air and they're looking down.
Well, I was concerned from the first time I put it on my boat. I said, this tool right here is going to change crappie fishing forever. And I didn't know it's in a lot of ways it's positive. It's brought more people into the sport. It's grown the industry. You look at all the new rods out and all the new baits and new jig heads and all the new lines. I mean, it's just been awesome for that.
Yeah.
But there's a price to pay, in the end, I believe, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But man, I'm really, really concerned with what's going to be in a few years. We're not there right now on Fork. We're seeing it on Pines, but in a few years, if it continues, I'm scared of what we're going to see. And like you said, at Palestine, you see less fish. And man, there's no way you can't in some places because I know how many fish come out of that lake every year.
I see less big fish, not less fish, but less big fish.
Yeah. Well, we can target big fish.
Yeah.
I did a big fish trip the other day with some guys from Missouri. We had a 308, a 288, and man, I don't know, 268. I passed up a lot of 10, 11. We just went big fish hunting, and I could actually tell you that's a 2.5 pound fish, 30 foot deep on that tree, at least 2.5 pounds, and nope, that fish ain't but 1.5 pounds. Let's skip it.
Yeah.
We've never been able to do that in the past.
Right. Well, let me just tell you this kind of off subject, but when you have a free day, let me know. We'll shoot a video together. I want a 3 pound fish. So let me show you a couple more videos, a couple more comments here. Jerry Lee, keep up the good work. Mike Hallmark, stand on your standards that you believe in. I blame the man for trying to keep a resource. Well, my problem is I don't like the bigger government. Yeah, there we go.
I agree with you on that, and I'm a huge supporter of Texas Parks and Wildlife and what they do and their management and the deer and the fisheries and how they do and the game wardens. I'm a huge supporter of all that. I'm not saying I don't like them or don't trust them. I honestly, I don't think in the past they've really cared about crappie, and I still don't think they care about them like we do. And
Exactly.
will that change? I don't know. I don't know. But hey, if me keeping a few less fish and some more guides and some guys like yourself and guys saying, hey, I'm gonna throw a fish back every now and then. I'm gonna release a bigger fish here and there. Maybe it'll make a difference.
I agree. I agree. Here's something I lost my place. I'm sorry, guys. But Andy Perry mentioned something here. Said, ain't the truth, Slabbuster. Record boat sales last year for my dealer. And, I know here I've talked to you with COVID going on. God, I should have mentioned that name. I'm going to get hammered on YouTube. Anyway, with things going on in the world nowadays, boat sales have gone up. People have to stay at home or they have to go out in the outdoors. They're spending more money on fun equipment. And so you have a lot more people fishing. You have a lot more. I mean, I was out with 3 pound crappie doing a fishing trip. I didn't put this on the video, but or 3 pound fishing. And man, I guarantee there were 40 boats behind us. They were all hiding. This is a Lake of the Pines. They were all hiding behind the island, trying to stay out of the wind. We're the only two people out in the front, but nobody caught fish. But the simple facts of the matter, there's a ton of people out there. And that's what you see.
Speaking of boat sales, I've got a new Sea Arc been on the order since I think August or September and still not here. So I know what it's like trying to get a new boat or a used boat or anything. Wally Marshall told me a while back, I think fishing, like lures and stuff, we couldn't even get some of the new rods we had built. It's up 200% sales. And a lot of it is due to that nasty word you mentioned a while ago, and, if we can ever get this world back into some sense of, normal, that may adjust itself somewhat. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people been introduced to the outdoors during this and camping and hunting and fishing that will stick around. I hope they do. We need it. It's good. I'm glad to see boat dealers making some money for a change. I really am. And so some of this may slack off. We may not see some of these guides that have lost their job or can't find work or guiding to try to make a living. Maybe they'll realize this is not as fun as I thought it was, and I'm going to go get a real job as soon as I can. So some of it may help take care of some of these issues.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Hey, here's a question. I'm gonna scroll back up here real quick, and it's a two-part question because I was going to throw another one up there in a minute. But Marshall asked, why do lakes have a no release or must keep time frame? And let me explain this. And I'm going to ask you a question here that goes with what I was going to ask you just a minute ago. But the point is, at some of these lakes, Lake of the Pines here in Texas, Lake Fork, because they are so deep, they're deep lakes. I mean, Lake Fork is 60 feet deep in places. I think we fit 60 something feet deep. Yeah. And so it's hard for them to get back down. Now, let me ask you this, because Making Waves mentioned something a minute ago. Back up, Marshall, real quick. So because it's so deep that they have a hard time, I guess it's kind of like
they get the bends like a diver gets.
Exactly. Yeah. Come out, their eyes are sticking out like goldfish, and if you open their mouth, you'll see a bubble in there. If you reel them up slow, it doesn't happen.
It helps.
Or if you reel them up slow enough, it doesn't happen. But what do you think? Do you think the bigger fish have a easier time with that versus the little fish?
I think I see, the smaller fish, when you reel a fish up from that depth and get top of water, I've seen them come off. They'll just float to the top. Smaller fish seem to have an issue more than bigger fish. Years ago, we guided on Ray Roberts in the wintertime. We fished on the south end of the lake. We were catching a lot of 8-9 inch black crappie that we couldn't keep because they don't have that law. And man, if you just pitched them out there, they would just float. A bird or a big old bass or something would come and eat them. One thing we started doing, and I don't know if we'd throw them up in the air as high as we could, and when they hit the water, man, they would take off. Now did they die later? I don't know, but I understand that's why those lakes implemented that. I remember back in the day at Fork, and you go out there and there's just hundreds and hundreds of 9 inch, 8 inch, 7 inch dead crappie floating all over that lake. So that's why that rule's been introduced. I agree with it on some aspects. Livescopes change things. I'm catching fish in 25 foot or less water right now that would not die, but I'm forced to keep them. And that's only due to Livescope. But pre-Livescope, we weren't fishing there. We didn't know those fish were there. So I was down there with everybody else in 40 and 50 foot of water, dragging jigs and minnows on the bottom, killing every fish I caught. There's not as many of those people doing that. There's more people doing what I'm doing now. And so is that rule is needed? I would like to tell a biologist to come fish with me in February and watch me catch fish 2 to 5 foot deep in 20 foot of water or less, suspended in open water. That way, 280s and 290s and 270 that I'm forced to keep and kill. If those fish, they would live just fine, and we catch a lot of them. So that's a different subject, that we have no control over. Right. But I can only keep 40 of them instead of 50. But we're done at the end of the day because we can't throw any fish back. If that's goes, that's one reason us guides and implement is starting March 1st. That rule's over. We're going to have a year to try to figure out how to combat that issue starting next December, and let guys work into it.
For those who are just joining us, I mean, basically we're talking about crappie limits, and there's a couple lakes here. I think the only two are Lake of the Pines and Lake Fork, correct? In Texas.
Toledo Bend, I think, used to be on that list, and I may be wrong, but
so basically, whatever you keep between was it January 1st and February 28th?
December 1st, and the last day of February. Yeah,
December 1st. Yeah. I will fess up to it. I know the statute of limitations in Texas is 2 years and 1 day, but this year I caught one, totally forgot about it because I'm a catch and release guy. The first fish I caught on Lake of the Pines 3 months ago, or a month and a half ago, I released him. Big fish, 25 foot of water. He went down. I was fishing that same area. He never came up. It wasn't that deep. Eyes weren't bugged out. I mean, that just happens. But anyway, that's what we're talking about. And real quick, guys, I've got 92 people watching on here. If y'all would hit that like button, let YouTube know you like this thing. I do have a question for you here from Tommy Baker, and you're probably the best person to answer this. I know you got to go, dude. When you need to go, just let me know.
I'm good right now. Yeah,
I've kept you a lot longer than I expected to. But what age is a 2-pound crappie in Lake of the Pines?
Man, I think that would vary probably, but I would say probably I'm gonna say 3 and 4 years old, somewhere in there. I would guess 3 to 5. I'm guessing, somewhere in that range. I think certain lakes, I see it every year on Fork. I see a lot of fish that are 1 year old that are 9 inches long, but a lot of that age class, and they've got eggs in them. They'll spawn at that age. They may not spawn a lot, but if you say it takes them a run a year to get 9 or 10 or a year and a half or whatever, and that's a good question for probably a biologist. Like I said, I don't play one at night, but I'm going to guess, if I had to guess, I would say probably around that 3 or 4 year old I would be my best estimate, but I have no real proof of that. There is a way those biologists age those fish in their ear. There's a bone that's the only way to age a fish. Now I'm going to back up a second. I heard a biologist in Oklahoma say the oldest crappie he ever aged was like 12 years old, and it was 6 inches long.
What?
So, yeah. So it could vary, and but there's a bone in the ear that they go in, get to that bone, and it's like aging a tree with rings, and that's how they age them. He said that's the only way you can really prove how old they are. And I've never tried it. Don't really know exactly how you do it, but that's how they age fish.
Got you. Okay. Well, good. That's a good answer. Andy Perry says, Jerry, thanks for taking your stand on what you believe in. I saw another one up here. I don't know where it was that said that, here it is. Sid Lewis, guides on Grenada Lake are doing this now, which is good. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll through.
I think Grenada's 15 fish, 12 inches is what the limit is, and talking to Patrick Stone today, he's like, man, that's where we're at right now. We wish we could do more, and it's like, man, man, everybody wants to fish Grenada. They know what they're going down there to catch, still.
Yep. Let me scroll through. I know you got to leave here. Let me just scroll through and see if there's anything.
No big rush.
Let's see. I'm way behind on these things. Oh, hey, call me Cambo. Here we go. The bone is called.
There it is. There it is. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, man, guys, there's a lot of questions or a lot of comments in here that I've passed up, and I apologize. But Jerry, I want to thank you for being in here tonight.
Man,
And
I appreciate you
this is,
having me.
well, man, no problem, dude. This is something I've been talking about. Like I said, with Mark, I've been mentioning, and I got a video out there, one of my first videos, and it's funny. It's one of the ones that has the most views. It's kind of funny because I'm sitting here and I say, guys, today is catch and release. I went because I've never been used to that. I've always caught
No,
fish
we're not.
and kept them, but I was
Yeah.
catching so many fish. Now I will say with that year, I fed 120 people, for one of my nonprofit deals, but that's not something I'm gonna do again. Number one, I got to keep the fish. I got to clean them. I get tired of cleaning fish. I know you do.
Well, clean 10 or 12,000 a year, and I don't mind cleaning fish. Some people say, well, you're doing this, so you have to clean less. I said, man, I can clean 3 fish a minute. I don't, this is saving me about 3 minutes out of my day. That's not why I'm doing it. I don't dislike doing that, and I love to eat crappie. Oh, man, we have a lot of fish fries, but I can tell you this. I remember many times I looked in the deep freeze and dug down there, and there was 3 bags of crappie that were 2-year-old I forgot about, ended up getting thrown away. Same way we do with hamburger meat. You buy some more when it's on sale, and you dig down and go, man, this stuff's 2 years old. Why is it still in the freezer? I know there's a lot of waste, but I try not to do that. That's trying to not do it, but I love eating them. I don't want to turn this into bass fishing. We're not Alec, that's not what we're pushing for. We're just, man, I'm just going to release 5, a few more fish a trip.
Sure.
And we're still hopefully catch more.
Yeah. Like you said the other day, or I guess yesterday when I talked to you, the simple fact is if everybody does this, I mean, what we're doing is ensuring that our kids, our grandkids have fish. And if we're wrong, what's the issue?
What's the downside?
There's
more fish in the lake.
Have
we ever said there's too many fish out there? I haven't had one of those days in a long time, where I complained there's just too many fish, and I would love to have some of those trips. There's days when I think, man, there's not a crappie in this lake. And then there's days where I'm like, man, they're everywhere, so I'm not saying the Lake Fork is hurt. It's, I'm not saying that. I think it's been affected. We just don't know. And that's my biggest fear.
Hey, I'm going to throw this out there. Because you had a plan for this. Hopefully I'm not throwing you under the bus here. I'm not under the bus, but catching you off guard. But Marshall Barton says, I suspect a lot of people are against the smaller limit, think they'll get a shorter trip for the same money. Tell me your thoughts, because I know we've talked about this.
Has come up a bunch. A lot of guys saying, well, are you going to reduce your rates because I'm getting less fish? I don't charge by the fish. I can't sell fish. I've never guaranteed a limit in 22 years. So there's days that I have to fish 7 hours to catch 30 fish. Some of that's due to weather. Some of it's due to my clients. They miss more than they catch. I put them on them, they don't catch them. I don't say, well, there went one that you missed, so I got to go find another one, and I work hard to catch all we can. I run 1 trip a day. I'm not going to run 2. Most of these guides aren't going to run 2. I'm not going to fish any shorter. If we go out there and we got 40 in an hour, we're going to fish 3 more hours or till they say, hey, I'm done releasing fish. So that's not the intentions of it. I'm not adjusting my rates because I'm still going to spend the same amount of time. I'm going to work just as hard as I always have, So that's come up a lot on this, but that's not the intentions of this. This isn't so I don't have to clean as many fish. It's not because I don't have to stay on the lake as long. I'm not going to none of us go out there and say, oh, you got your 40, time to go. Except right now during this time of year, If we hit 50, we're done because we can't catch any more. I can't, as a guide in Texas, I can't count my limit. So I don't fish with customers. That's one thing. A lot of people are like, well, the guide catches most fish anyway. You don't in my boat. I might catch the first one some days just to show you how to do it. But with Livescope, I don't fish. So it's up to the customers, me to put them on. It's a tag team deal. So this isn't to make my job easier. That's not why we're doing it. And it's not going to be, because to be truthful, there's days 40 fish is a great day, for a lot of guys. And to answer a lot of these people are playing, like, okay, so you were paying me X amount of dollars for a chance to catch 50, but when we caught 35, you weren't asking for money back. So why are you asking for money back now? You don't even know what we're going to catch, because I don't guarantee it, and, I wish I could charge by the fish, and I wish I could charge them for every fish they miss. That that would be fun, but that's not how it works.
Right. So, hey, tell me this real quick. This is, I just keep thinking of questions, but this kind of goes into it. Are you going to reduce your rate?
Nope.
No, I know you're not, but there's a lot more than waking up and going to catch fish.
No.
You got gas, you got drive, you got a sleeping arrangement, tell me what all goes into guiding so people understand it.
I've got, upwards of $100,000 in a boat and a truck, and I've got another boat on order. So I'm fixing to have $25,000 in two boats until I sell my old one, and keeping my electronics going, and my insurance and your fuel and everything that goes in it, which is the cost of doing business. I'm not complaining. That's just how it is. And
sure,
you're not just paying me for fish. If that's the case, go to the store. It's a whole lot cheaper per pound than it is. Don't do the math on what crappie costs per pound.
Right.
Don't do that. It's same as deer meat. It'd be a whole lot cheaper. I just went and took my cousin on a deer hunt. He got to kill 2 does. What I spent on that, I could have went and bought a beef, and had that nearly and had a whole lot more meat. So if that's how people are looking at it, I say you should go on a sand bass trip, or maybe a catfish trip, or, it's not just about, you're paying for experience. I have a lot of customers that come from all over the country to fish with me on Fort. Part of it's because of my reputation as a guide. Part of it's because of what I've accomplished in tournament fishing. Mm-hmm. And they're coming to learn the electronics, learning how to target these fish and how to, break lakes down, and all the stuff that if you pay attention and ask questions, that you'll learn. That's worth way more than 25 fish you're going to take home. That sure. Knowledge that you're going to gain with one day on the water with me. I tell people, I'll save you years of trial and error sometimes. And with like Livescope, I can save you weeks and months of beating your head against wanting to kick it off the front of your boat. With one trip with me, I can change your life with that electronics just by teaching you some of the stuff I know, because I have 4,000 hours on it. I make my living running a trolling motor. I'm good at running a trolling motor, wind, all that. I can help you with all that stuff. So that's what you're paying for when you go fishing with a guide. And just the show up, I tell my customers what I need to bring. You need to bring some drinks if you want, but I got waters on the boat, snacks, a fishing license. I've got all the equipment. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to hand you a pole. I'm going to take care of all your stuff. I take your fish off for you. I tie your jigs on for you if we lose one, and then I clean your fish and bag them and put them in your cooler, and you go along your merry way. And I still got to go load my boat up. I got to clean up my fish cleaning station. I got to get back, start getting my boat ready for the next day. And then I get on the phone for about 2 hours answering calls and emails. So my day starts at 5, and it's usually, with just one trip, it's usually 7 or 8 o'clock at night before my day's over. And if I look tired right now, I am tired because I haven't had much time off in the last few years. And I stay tired, and I'm not complaining. I choose to do this, but it's it's not as easy as people think. I'll promise you.
Well, Jerry, I tell you what, we're 45 minutes past what I told you I'd keep you. And
Oh man, that's okay.
well, I just want to say thank you for being on here tonight. Thanks for sharing what you're doing. Thanks for doing what you're doing, because that's something I totally believe in. And one day, my personal goal is one day I'm going to beat you in a tournament.
Well, you probably will.
It may be 50 years.
We tell people all the time.
But,
we tell people all the time, I've been beat by worse,
Oh, hey, what are you saying? What are you saying?
No, it's a joke,
I know, man.
Hey, one thing
we competed last year. Well, we didn't compete because you were the D1, I was in D2 for the state championship. But that's when I really got to spend some time with you. So
I appreciate it. Now, once again, I appreciate. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
I have a son in the Army, active, like I told you, and that's something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I applaud you for everything you do on that. And that's one reason you become, someone that I really like to follow and keep up with. Once I learned that about you, that sold me. It told me everything I needed to know about you. So keep that up, and kudos for that. And I appreciate you having me on. There was something I wanted to say, and after we got on this, I lost my train of thought a minute. I thought that was important about this whole conversation, but if I think about it, I'll pass it along to you. And
all right,
a message or something.
Let me scroll
phone call or something.
Oh wait, hey, hold on.
Yeah.
I got a comment from this weird guy, but I can't get away from him. But I'm gonna throw him up here from Mark Standridge.
Oh.
Very hard way to make a living.
Man, he knows as much as anybody. Me and Mark talk about, Mark's become a good friend of mine, and we talk a lot, almost daily at times, and bounce stuff off and complain to each other about how our day went, or brag about how it went, and help each other all we can. And he's a good friend, and he's a dadgum good fisherman and a good man on top of that. So, and he's one of the best, and I'm sure glad to see he's on board with this and feels the way that I do about it. It says a lot for Mark, and I'm a big fan of Mark's. That's one thing I like about this. I get to meet a lot of guys that do the same thing I do, and I become fans of what they do, and like to keep up with them.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I've seen Mark. Yeah, because I fish. I put it in the same place Mark does, and so I see Mark get out there, and I'm just throwing numbers out. But I say numbers meaning times, but say he's meeting a guy, a group of fishermen at 7. He's out there at 6. He's got his boat in the water. He's got everything, tied up. He's double checking stuff, and I'm over there looking at him, trying to talk to him, and he won't talk because he's in the middle of.
Oh, nobody works harder than Mark. I tell him all the time, man. I tell him all the time, man, quit worrying so much, Mark. Slow down, and that's just Mark's nature.
That's him, man. He is he's a good guy.
Nobody works harder. I'm to the point now, if I tell my customers we're meeting at 7, you look for me at 7. Don't look for me at 6:59. Don't look for me at 6:45. I'm rolling up. I'll be ready to go at 7, but those days of getting there an hour early, that's about 20 years ago for me. But Mark, it's just everything. And, me and this decision, me and Mark had some long conversations. I know Mark prayed very hard about this, and it was a hard decision for many reasons. And I hope he's glad he done it. After the beating we took today on social media, he's probably going, I'm going to kill Jerry for even talking me into this. But we're doing the right thing, and I know what a man of faith Mark is. Yeah. And when you this has been weighing on my heart for about a year, that need to do something, and didn't know exactly what this, and it's just a small sacrifice, hopefully for the betterment of the sport, and the fisheries. And I want our grandkids to be able to catch fish, and
Sure.
we say that all the time about deer hunting and everything else, but it's true, because if we just went out there and shot everything up and done it all, there wouldn't be. You see behind me, there's some pretty good sized deer up on that wall, and that I kill on my property here. I work very hard at managing these deer and letting them grow and feeding them and doing all that stuff and
Yeah.
watching out, for them. If I see someone poaching or hear about people poaching, I get it. And, I'm not scared to call a game warden. I'm a snitch when it comes to breaking the laws. I follow the law. I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm a big supporter of all that. So, it's, man, it is what it is. I know we've caused a big deal, but maybe this discussion's the can of worms is open and it'll go somewhere and civilly. Let's hope it, it'll get, it's not always, we've seen it today. It hadn't been all civil. And, but I think it will hopefully die down, and people maybe will think about it a little bit harder. Maybe, all you can do is plant a seed,
Sure.
in some people, and it may take them a while to come around. Change isn't easy,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard to do that change. So,
Well, Jerry, and that's the whole point is that it's really up to all of us, not just guides. It's up to everybody to leave that resource out there. And if we go, like I said, back in the day, I will tell you, once again, the statute of limitations in the state of Texas is 2 years and 1 day. But
here we go again.
I got my first deer at midnight with night vision. I will tell you that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't always follow the law, but I will tell you, most of the game wardens that are out there have not done it either. That's why they're great game wardens, because they know what to look for. I showed you my list of game wardens. I have about 40 in my phone.
Yeah.
And, I'm a big believer in following the law now. And, I say now, not as of now, but, the last 10, 15 years.
They have a hard job.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's a hard job. And
it can't be everywhere at once, and they do rely on people to help them out, and some of us do when we can, about things and never know what happened with some of these cases that we've worked with them on, but I do honestly, I believe in protecting our resources.
You have to, just like those guys. And I'm sure if any of y'all been on Facebook, y'all seen this, those guys at Lake of the Pines that had they have 300.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a bunch.
Yeah, they had way more than their legal limit to have within a certain amount of days. They got busted, and I'm glad they did, because that was that many fish that were taken out of that lake that anybody could have.
I believe they were from out of state as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But these lakes that are destination lakes, Fork's the same way, and Pines, as people come. I've had a lot of people from Fort contact me that live around the lake and have businesses around the lake that go, man, thanks for thinking about this, because our economy depends on people coming and fishing this lake. And what happens if Lake Fort, which is in Pines, those two lakes is where people travel from all over the country. I got clients coming in this year from New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I get them from Kansas, all over to come fish with me. What do? They come down here, they fly or they drive, they stay in motels, cabins, they eat, they go out, they spend a lot of money around this lake. So crappie's bringing in, that's why I say I view crappie different than some people do. There's a lot of, it's good for the sport. It's good for the economy, the local economy. So if Lake Fort just falls flat on its face in 10 years, I'm not only going to be out of a job. there's going to be some other people that could possibly be out of jobs,
Right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
it's everybody's affected.
Exactly. I'm laughing because I see a post here. I'm gonna throw this out there in case Mark's still on here, but from the crappie queen herself, Irene the crappie queen. I don't know if you see my video where I took Irene fishing, but I met her through Mark Stanridge. But I'm a fisherman. Every time I get, he'll have to do more than tell me I have to catch 5 less fish.
I've seen her on your video, and I've seen her pictures with Mark, and Mark's talked about her a lot. He loves her to death. I know he always talks about Irene, and
that lady slapped me in the face with a fish.
Yeah, I seen that video. I watched it. That's I think you named it "Getting Slapped with a Fish" or something. That's why I think I clicked on it.
Real quick, another one. Here's from Ricky James Underwood. When I hire a guy to meet them at the ramp, he or she shows me a few spots and tactics that improve my personal time on the water. I'm happy, and the number of fish we harvest does not matter. And and that's a good point, Ricky, because I hired a guide the very first time when I got my Livescope. I had it for 2 weeks. I said, man, I spent money that I shouldn't have spent, and so I had to hire a guide to show me what I'm doing with that to understand it.
Well, that comment brings up what I was thinking about. I said I forgot about.
Oh, good.
There's been a lot of guide bashing going around today, and I didn't realize how many people hated guides. But I've always been one that I share a lot of information, and I have people tell me, "You tell way too much." I tell you what I was doing, what depth of water I caught them in, what color baits I was using, what kind of baits I was using. Was I using minnows or not using minnows, or cutting minnows in half and doing that? I've done that from day one. Did it back before Facebook. It was a Texas fishing forum, and we had a Lake Lavon fishing forum, and I would get on there and do weekly reports and give these detailed reports. And a lot of people started following me because Jerry's going to tell us where he's catching them. And guys are like, man, you're telling people what you're doing and where. And I'm like, I'm not telling them where, but I'm telling them what depth of water. I'm telling them 15 foot of water. Well, now they don't have to go looking 10 or 25. It saves them time. It helps them out. And they catch a few fish.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about it. I mean, I enjoy helping people, and I still do to this day. If you look my post up, every post, I will throw some information in there, what I was doing and how I was doing it. I always felt pushed to do that because I am making a living on a public lake. I know people do view us in a negative way, and I've always done that to try to give back to the guys and gals and fishermen that in some way by, helping them out and teaching them a little bit, and there's a lot of guys like me that do that. So not all us guys are bad guys. I get calls daily. Hey man, I'm going to Lake Fork next week. Can you help me out? I don't know these people from Adam. And I'll respond. I tell them, hey man, I'm fishing this and this is what I'm doing. And I may never hear back from them. And I know a lot of my buddies do the same thing. Mark, we help a lot of people catch a lot of fish and that don't spend money with us, so it's not just about the money all the time. And that's probably, I was going to say a bad word. It's made me more upset to hear the guide bashing and how we're running everything. We should be banned and not allowed to fish, and we should work less hours and we should do all this stuff. That's upset me more than anything about this because, man, without us, I know there's, I've designed boats for Lund Boats. I helped them come out with their first crappie boat way back in the day. I know guys, I see boats on the water that I designed way back in 2004, 5. I see rods that me and Paul O'Beer designed and came up with. We guides and tournament guys do give a lot to the sport for baits and tackle.
Sure.
I work for, I fish for Wally Marshall, Lou's Strike King and all that. Wally, he asked me, what about this? What about that? What works? What doesn't? These guys, they use us. We do do a lot of good is what I'm trying to say. It's not all bad. We're not just out there just raping the lakes of all the natural resources, you know?
Well, no, and I totally agree on that. I mean, it's I think I'd probably be safe to say you look on a boat on the lakes, and out of 10 boats, you're going to have, I'll be conservative, say 5 live scopes on there, if not more.
At least, yep.
Yeah. And
think, and I'm going to think a conservative number out there. Let's say in 5 years, that's going to be the normal unit that comes on boats, something in that format. Just like side skin, when I first started guiding, I had a 5-inch black and white screen, no side skin, no GPS, no spot lock, none of the stuff we have today. I don't know how I did it. I mean, and I caught just as many fish as I do now. I tell people I caught as many fish then as I do now, just catch them a whole lot quicker now, and my quality's way better. But things have advanced, and then side scan come out, and man, I was so against it because I couldn't hide my brush piles anymore. Now they can find it. Well, I have side scan now. I have GPS. I have spotlight trolling motor. I have Livescope. I got power poles with paddles. And the next time something else comes out that's going to help me be more efficient, I'm going to have that too. And that's just how things have progressed. All of those things have had an impact on the amount of fish that's coming out of the lakes now for a lot of people. If you just take the guys that used to without Livescope would go out, and let's just say a guy average catching 5 to 10 fish a day. He doesn't get to fish a lot. He can put Livescope, learn how to use it, and now he can realistically go out and catch a limit of fish every trip. Right. Multiply that by how many Livescope units have been sold. I mean, don't tell me that it's not impacting the number of fish that's coming out of the lake.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree.
You don't have to be a biologist to see that. Now, is it hurting the lakes? There is a difference, and that's what we don't know. I want to err on caution on that.
Yep. I'm looking through here real quick. Yeah. All right. So I'm at the end. You know what? Let's call it a night. At least for you, I'll stay on for a little bit and talk to people. But Jerry, I thank you for being on here tonight.
Thank you.
I told you 30 minutes. We're now an hour and a half.
It's all right. It's all right. I've enjoyed it. I really have.
No,
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to probably dig myself a deeper hole with some people.
No, dude, I don't think so at all. And I'm in that hole too, man. I'm the one who made that comment today.
No, I mean,
yeah, I made a post on there, and it got taken totally the wrong way, and
it's okay. I run that page, and you didn't see me taking it down, so it wasn't that bad a post.
I appreciate that.
Well, none of us, nobody that's a moderator. I asked all of them, do you think Chris's post should come down? And none of them said absolutely not. He's not bashing anyone. He's not stirring the pot. He's asking a simple question, and I appreciate what you did. I think supporting it. It's just showing support for something, and you were no different than we are. You're not trying to blackmail someone, and there was a lot of words thrown around on that, and I came to your defense, and Seth Vanover came to your defense, and Dan Langston came to your defense, and we three run the page, so we didn't take any offense to it, and there was a lot of people that sided with you, so don't feel bad on that. I did delete a post yesterday and block a gentleman. We do not tolerate bashing of any kind on there. That's our first rule. And if your post would have come off that way, it would have been taken down. And because it's still up, tells you everything you need to know. So sleep well tonight.
Definitely, thank you. But for all y'all watching, I posted a deal just saying, hey guys, I want to support these guys who are doing this. So if you post in there your your guide name, that's who I'm going to recommend. And it got taken from a standpoint of I want to recommend these to, well, if I'm not doing this, you're not going to recommend me and you're bashing me. And that's not what it was meant to be at all. But anyway, yeah, we'll leave
Hey,
that.
I'm going to give some advice. If you're a crappie fisherman or a guy like me, don't lick your screen if it's dirty. To try to get
Was
that didn't
it like
taste
fish?
Yeah, it tasted. Yeah, that's some old fish, I think.
Jerry, man, I
nasty.
appreciate you being on here, brother. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
man, thank you.
I
You
look forward
enjoy
to
it.
seeing you at
Have
the
a
next
good night.
tournament. And yeah, man, if you get a chance, hold on. God dog it. Hold on. Yeah, my cat.
That's all
Sorry. Well, let me get rid of that real quick so I can see what I'm doing. I don't even know where it was. Man, I've got a lot of comments. I'm gonna go ahead and end it. But as far as you being on here, I'll talk to everybody else real quick for a minute. But if you want to stay on, Jerry, you're more than welcome. But thank you for being on here tonight. Thanks for sharing your point of view. I think it's just a pertinent point that we that's a big word I use, pertinent. Anyway, I think it's a good point that we conserve. That's what this is about. I mean, it's conserving our resources. At some point we're going to run out. And if I'm wrong, like you said, if we're wrong, what's going to happen? We have more fish.
Yeah, I mean
exactly.
That's what I've been. When it's not costing you any money, it's not. I mean, that's my point. That's why I don't understand the anger in it. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and I think
we may never
people
know.
Exactly.
But hey, we're going to stick with it and continue to. Like I said, I'm not going to say push this. I'm going to say encourage people just to consider it. Think about it.
Yeah.
And we're all going to reap the wrath of it or the benefits of it in the future, one way or another. We're all in this if we're fishermen.
Exactly. Jerry, thanks for being on here tonight.
Yes, sir.
Congrats again for winning the tournament. I'm still waiting for my check for my new Livescope.
Yep, me too.
Hey, you won the money, brother.
You know where that check went. I got the trophy.
Yeah, like the day after he won this thing, I sent him a message saying, "Hey, man, I need some money, dude." And I got back basically a smart comment like, "Yeah, get in line" or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, hey, bud, congrats on that. Thanks for sharing your story, your vision. I appreciate it. And we'll bid you good night, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody else, I'm staying on for a little bit. We're going to keep talking about this. And if y'all have any more comments, please put them in there. And we'll keep going. So, Jerry, thanks so much, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care. Oops. All right, guys. I'm back down to the bottom here. So y'all want to keep talking about this? We can keep talking about it. We can close it off. Y'all let me know. Let me scroll through some of these comments at the bottom here. Mike Hallmark, I like this comment. I love Livescope. Has it made me better? Yes. Am I slaying them? No. You know what? That's part of it. Texas Crappie Assassins laughs at it. Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate it. Thanks for having Jerry on the live tonight. This has been a big issue. Really the last couple of days. And hold on, scroll back because I just saw one. Mark, if you're still on here, thank you, Jerry. He's the best guy on Lake Fork. Jerry is an awesome guy. I think he's an awesome individual. I don't know him that well, but I've known him through tournaments, and he made a point of, when I was in that tournament, with the crap that's happened, that little thing, virus, I'm not going to say the word, maybe I missed the first one, but, we had to cut back things. And so because I was in the top 10 of one of the tournaments last year, I got in state finals. Usually it's the top two, or you gotta hit two of them. But because of everything that happened last year, is one. And I never met Jerry. Jerry came up to me and started talking to me, and sought me out, and a group of guys that I didn't know who they were, and it was impressive. It made me feel at home. So I appreciate him for being on here. Definitely. Bruce Summer, how you doing? I just saw you. I'm sure I've been missing the comments, so I apologize, but thank you for being on here. Call me Camo. Let's see. Sarge, if you have time, I'm having a problem with crappie hitting my weight rather than my jig. Have you found a way to combat this? Yes, I have. I do about a 2 foot leader, and that way the jig is probably not in their sight. Now, this is my water here, which is pretty dirty. But the other thing you can do is throw a double jig on there. So I personally fish with a 1/8 ounce jig head and a 1/8 ounce weight. But what you can do is put a 2 1/8 ounce jigs with a 2 foot leader in there. If they do hit the weight, boom, you got them. I've actually fished it before with just a silver jig head and no jig body on the bottom, and I've actually caught fish that way as well. Hopefully that can help you out. But yeah, I get that all the time. I'll watch them, and I'll sit there with a Livescope. Here again, good point. I'm watching what they're doing. I'll watch them move up to my weight, and I'll just pull it up real quick and try to get that jig in front of them. Sometimes they bite it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they follow the weight up. So hopefully that helps you out there, brother. Okay, Irene said something funny. Let me look back here. Well, apparently somebody said something really good funny, because I see a bunch of laugh out louds. I don't see it, but I do see Tex Crappie Assassin. Met Jerry at the state championship also. Liked him from talking with him there. Good guy. I agree, man. He's a down-to-earth guy. And Andy Perry says, great live tonight. Hope everyone sees this. Man, I agree, dude. That's the whole point. This thing just happened. I found out about it, and Heidi says it was Irene, but I'm not seeing what Irene said. I got to scroll back up here. No. Okay, so I'll put it up there in a minute. But anyway, I saw this on Facebook and went to it, and then at that point I called Jerry, I called Mark, and talked to him, and which is a great thing, because this is what I've been talking about for a while. And I didn't blame it on guides. I blamed it on just the amount of people fishing. I look at what I caught last year. If you look at some of my videos from last summer to this summer, my fish are different. I'm not catching the 16-inch crappie as regular as I used to. And I believe that has something to do with Livescope. I could be totally wrong. It could be atmosphere. It could be water temperatures. It could be whatever. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. So that's why I wanted to have him on here tonight and talk about this, because this has been a big issue over the last couple of days, and go from there. So Irene says, Sarge, tell Jerry I need to come to Lake Fork and slap in the face of the fish too. Hey, he's gone. I'm sorry, but I will tell him that. You know what? Here, hold on. Where's my phone? I'm gonna take a screenshot right now. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna send that to Jerry here in just a second. Irene, the crappie queen. All right, guys. If y'all have anything else for me, let me know. This was supposed to be a 30-minute deal with Jerry, and it wound up being an hour and a half. I thank him so much for being on here and doing that. But I think we got some good information as well. I'm sorry, guys. I'm reading comments. Bruce. Bruce, my meds are kicking in. Good night. By the way, interesting topic tonight. Hey, Bruce is one of my battle buddies from my drill sergeant unit I was in. And Bruce, I appreciate you for being on here, brother. Thanks for being. You're probably gone by now, but I appreciate it. Bruce did get injured over there, and so he's battling. He's fighting a battle every day. So prayers to you, brother, man. Thanks for being on here tonight. Oh, shoot. I lost my place. Bruce says to Camo Joe, you're dropping your bait past active fish. Try fishing your brush timber from the top down. You know, and that's a good point. But I will say, Bruce, that there's a lot of times where I get out there and I do that, even with a 2-foot leader, and those fish, they'll look at my jig and then choop, drive right up, even with a 1.5 to 2-foot leader, and they'll come up and hit my weight, and I'll feel them. They'll suck that sucker in, and I don't catch anything. So, yeah. I have done a double jig on that for that reason. At times, I don't do it every time. I don't do it a lot of times, but when I start seeing them do that, I will do a double jig and go from there. So let's see. Oh, Mike, here, I'll give you his number. I think you're talking to Jerry. You open the next 2 weeks. I'll send you. Remind me. I'll send you his number and see if he's open. All right, Texas Crappie Assassin. What is that? I'm dropping the tournament from Saturday. Oh yeah, no, yeah, go for it, dude. Go for it. I'm not even sure if I have enough video. I haven't even. It's still in my truck. I don't even know if I have enough video to make it happen. So go for it, dude. Michael Lawrence got the giveaway. Thank you, brother. I'm glad you got it, man. Thanks for entering. So once again, the name of my truck is still out there. Next Monday night, we're giving that away. Marshall Barton says good night, everybody. I appreciate it. Stephen asked you too. Funny, Irene. Let's see. Irene, it's your bedtime. You know, it's my bedtime as well. Appreciate it. Thanks for being on here. Jeff Branham, first time watching, enjoyed. Wondering where you guys mount your Livescopes and trolling motor on a separate pole. You know, I wish I showed that to Jerry. I think I could be wrong, but I think Jerry, a lot of the guys mount on their trolling motor because they're moving fast. I don't. I do it on a side deal. If you go back and look about a year and a half ago on my timeline, in fact, you can probably go, if you go to Asleep at the Reel and look at playlist, there's a video on there of how I made my trolling or my Livescope mount. So I do mine on the left side of my boat because I fish right-handed, so I can move the Livescope with my left hand. I do it separate because I use spot lock. A lot of times I'll get on the spot, hit spot lock, and that trolling motor will move around, but I'm still on the fish. So I do mine separately. So hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully that video can help you out as well. Go check it out and see if that can give you some ideas. But I think I built that whole Livescope or the Livescope mount minus the RAM mount that I already had for around $20, I believe. Pretty good. Terry Landry, great live, interesting content needs to be talked about. I agree, man. Thank you so much. Let's see. call me camo too. That's it. I'm trying to treble hook below the bullet weight and getting after it. Hey, that's better than dynamite, like old slab busters trying. Hope y'all like that video with slab buster. Hold on. Let me just move the camera down a little bit. There we go. Anyway, I had a good time with slab buster. I know I didn't talk about it much, but that was a good video. I've actually got 3 or 4 unlikes, but you know what? That's part of it. We had a good time. So Texas Crappie Assassin says pole mount also. Yeah, I just like the pole mount. Definitely. Here's a good name, the Instigator. I'll tell you what, after the last couple of days, that's what I feel like, the Instigator. Oh my gosh, hold on, my cat's walking by. Come on, cat. Oh, I was gonna sit on my keyboard. I'm sorry. All right. Going to Palestine Saturday. Hey, there you go. Go hit them, man. Go hit them. I may be there too. I've got. I definitely want to go there for the bass tournament. Like I said, I met Scott Suggs, and I definitely want to see him out there. I'm not a big bass follower, but good guy. I met him at the gas pump in Arkansas, or maybe was I? Yeah, I was in Arkansas, and good guy. I like to get out there and see him. So Mike. All right, guys. I think we're done for tonight. I'm not getting more comments. I appreciate y'all for being on here. We've been an hour and 51 minutes. I really wanted Jerry on here tonight because I'm a big believer in conservation. There's some comments that are not real positive on there, but you know, the simple facts of the matter is I'm not telling you guys to do it. I'm asking you. You know, if you have, like Tennessee, you guys have a 15 fish limit. That's not many fish. So if you were to cut 5 out, that's 10 fish. Well, you know, the thing is, if you're getting fish, if you fish all the time and you're just getting some fish for the weekend, then, you know, if 10 fish is good, stick with 10 fish. You know, here in Texas, we have 25. I think it's 30 or 35 in Oklahoma. Way too high, in my opinion, but I don't need 35 fish. I keep roughly 50 a year, if that. It's very, very rare that I do it. But anyway, long story short, just if you would work in conservation, try to keep the fish there. Definitely. Bayou Crappie Adventures, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Great live, much needed message. I applaud these guys for taking a stand and making a difference. Man, I do too, buddy. Thank you so much. Larry Joe Coburn, how you doing? Good to have you on here. I'm sorry you kind of got at the end of it. Hope you get the chance to watch the beginnings of it. Lisa Flathead, how you doing? You got a lot of people just coming in. Glad to have you on here. If you would go back and watch the first part of this video, a much needed message about conservation and some really, really interesting thoughts. It sounds boring. I'm sorry, but it really isn't. It's a much needed deal and something I think you guys need to listen to. So Heidi Clark, thanks for the great topic on your live. Haters gonna hate. I agree. A lot of selfish people. I'm sitting there thinking of puns. If we were talking about offshore fishing, we can say a lot of shellfish people out there. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. 30. Yeah, that's right. 30 in Alabama. That's right. Call Me Camo, great live. Thank you so much, Bruce Summer. Oh, they're talking to each other. Andy Perry, I can hardly catch 5 fish, much less 30. Yeah, there's times when I get that way too. Okay, wait, hold on. Bayou Crappie Adventures, Louisiana is 50 per person. Really? This kind of goes back to my younger days where I didn't follow rules because I had no idea what the size limit was. I had no idea what well, you know what? There may not have been one. In Texas, we used to come up here as a kid. So I'm 52 years old. We used to come up here and we catch hundreds of sand bass. There was no size limit. There was no limit on them at all. So, I just fished in high school. I didn't know what limits were. But that was a long time ago. That's pretty interesting. Wow. Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, you need to bring this up, man. Share this video. Do whatever. I mean, let's the resources are only there for a while. Once they're depleted, they're depleted. Now, with fish, they can come back. Oil, well, that will come back in millions of years. But fish, that's a different story. But we need to get it before it gets to that point. I mean, right now I live in a place. Sorry, hold on a second. I live in a place where I've got 3 wonderful lakes: Lake Palestine, Lake of the Pines, Lake Fork, and they are filled with fish. But how long will that last with everybody using Livescope and pulling out every fish they can and keeping them? Right now, there is that limit to where you have to keep everything you catch, whether it be 3 inches or 3 pounds, 19 inches, whatever, on those 2 lakes, on Lake of the Pines and Lake Fork. But it's at some point in time, you're not going to catch those big fish. That's my belief. I could be totally wrong, and I hope I am, just like Jerry said, but it needs to be conserved. So JT's All Outdoors says, time to form a coalition to start with the investigation and form a crappie conservation group. I agree. I'm not going to show it to you because somebody may pause it and look at it, but I literally have a list on my phone of 40, 50 game wardens, and I'm going to start making some phone calls. Anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it off, man. We're just almost 2 hours here. I appreciate every one of y'all for being on here. We got a lot of new people on here. Thank you so much. Thanks for the likes. If you haven't done a like yet, you have time right now. You got about 30 seconds to hit the like button. Let YouTube know that you like our content, like what we did today, and go from there. Let me look at it real quick. I got one comment coming up here. There it is. I fished Lake of the Pines, and the most I've caught is 15. That's more than enough for me. Yeah, and I usually fish for 3 or 4 hours. So my videos that I do are normally 3 to 4 hours long of me fishing. There's times I've been out there. I've caught 25 out there, and not saying that as I'm better than you by any means. That's not what I mean, but that's happened, and it hadn't been often. As you saw in my last video, I caught 2. But I agree, but at the same time, if you watch my deals, I will keep a couple fish for a picture, and then I don't keep them in that live well long. I may, get 3, 4 good sized fish in that live well, take a picture, then they're released. That's pretty much what I do. So, all right, guys, I appreciate y'all for being on here tonight. Again, thank you so much. Y'all tune in next week. We'll give away the prize for the truck name my truck. If you haven't looked at it yet, go watch the video, weigh in on that, and go from there. So I appreciate y'all for being on here. Thanks so much, and y'all have a great night. Again, to Jerry, if you're watching, thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate it. That was a great content you did tonight. So thank you so much. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to y'all later. Have a good night.